We have via Zoom James Cornbread Harris Jr., Jimmy's father. Woo! Listen, this has taken my breath away. First of all, hey Dad, how you doing? I see you at the piano, your favorite place there. How old he is now?
97.
97. He said, wow, Cornbread, we got you on Zoom because I know it is challenging to travel. We have a photo of you. This is May 17th, 2021, of you and Jimmy, your grandson. What is it like at this point? You've seen a lot in your years on this planet, but to be able to, at this age, have your son and grandson there with you, how did that feel?
Man, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, that's what I would like to tell you.
The best thing that ever happened to you.
Yes, right.
Moving to our newer stuff, the Human League. I'm a human. Herb Alfred. New Alexander, and of course.
So when people say we're going to cut the budgets in schools, and how are we going to cut the budget? We're going to take music out of schools. Are you kidding me? How do we learn our alphabet? We don't go A, B, C. No, we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What's that next? Right. No, we don't need the long version. We'll do the single version. Single edit. Our goal is to leave music in a better place. That's me and Terry's goal at this point. We are celebrating 40 years. We did this, and we said 50-50. That's our contract. 40 years on that contract we've been together. And next year we will be celebrating our 50th year as friends. 1973 we met.
But I'm curious, the next time that you ran into Prince face to face, what was that meeting like?
No, it was fun. I think the next time I saw him, it was all fun and games, basically, because we were doing fine. But it turned out, I think, was after was Purple Rain tour.
Purple Rain tour. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw him in Detroit, as a matter of fact. I had no ill feeling at that point, but the way he treated, more specifically Jimmy, because he had like a silent rivalry with Jimmy for some reason.
That's the way Terry and I are. We have different interests. We have different types of music that we feel really speak to us. We have different artists we work with that we have really close relationships with. There's some artists that I swear to God, if you say, what does Jimmy do? And they go, I never see Jimmy. I only see Terry, or vice versa, according to who the artist is. But at the end of the day, it's always Jam and Lewis. And we shook hands 50-50. We said 50-50. Well, that took away creatively all of the disagreements you would have. Well, that's my title. Well, that's my verse. Well, that's my melody. Why are you breaking songs down like that? No, 50-50. So there's songs, we're on the same team. There's songs that are 100% Terry wrote them and did everything. And I hear it when it's on the radio or when it comes out. And I go, man, that sounds really good. And I got 50% of it. So what do I care?
Your success is amazing to have lasted. And not just that, but to continue to have major success, to still be major players in the game. There's a great deal of love and understanding there. And that's what's really important. They truly understand it. They're old married men, and I'm their little girl.
Right here. Jimmy Jam. Ain't nobody bad like me. Hey, got to make some love tonight. And you know I got the rhythm.
Surprise, fired you. He's fired everybody at some point in time.
Prince did not fire us. He freed us to pursue our destiny. And, we appreciate all that he did for us.
Imagine getting kicked off your own gig, only for it to launch you into superstardom. Wild, right? But that's exactly how it went down for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the OG masterminds behind the time.
I've heard Morris Day's version of this story about you being fired by Prince, which I gotta be honest, if that was on my tombstone, I'd be okay with that. Like, Prince must fire me, right? I'd be excited about that.
The label was hot, thick Russian fire, baby. But then Jimmy and Terry pulled the ultimate plot twist. They broke free, rebelled against the machine, and got the boot. The tea is, what lit that fuse? Did they think they were too good for the label, or was the label just scared of their shine?
Your band, Flight Time, and Prince, surprise, surprise, fired you. I say surprise, surprise, because he's fired everybody at some point in time.
Oh, the drama was piping hot, y'all. But here's the gag. Getting fired turned out to be the glow-up of a lifetime. They unlocked OG status and freedom, and the rest, straight history. Strap in, fam. Because Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's climb to the top was messy, thrilling, and oh so worth it. This story will leave you shook, breathless, and asking yourself, does rebellion hold the key to superstardom?
It's interesting that this particular award is called the Legend Award, but in this case, I like to call it the Living Legend Award.
Let's get into it, y'all, and unpack the wild ride of these music moguls' rise to the top. Buckle up. It's about to get real spicy.
That was the thing that kind of got us started. We kind of did a little. Yeah. I can't stand it. You can't stand it.
Okay. Club record.
Yeah, club record.
Jimmy Jam hit the scene on June 6th, 1959, repping some serious music pedigree as the son of Cornbread Harris, a Minneapolis blues and jazz icon. Terry Lewis, born November 24th, 1956, didn't know it yet, but destiny had plans. When their worlds collided, they created the blueprint for an iconic songwriting, producing, and R&B duo. But before the glow-up, it was nothing but hustle and uncertainty. The magic began at the University of Minnesota's Upward Bound program.
We met back, we were teenagers, junior high school, or middle school, I guess it's called now, but junior high school back in that day. And we met in a summer program at the University of Minnesota.
Upward Bound.
Upward Bound. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And it was peer teaching was the actual thing. It was about teaching kids like a grade below you math so that it would understand it better hearing it from you than they would from a teacher.
Jimmy was out here flexin' with Minded Matters, a singing group, while Terry held it down as the backbone of Flat Time. These two squads went head-to-head in competitions, but let's keep it real. The respect between Jimmy and Terry, solid from day one.
I had a band called Minded Matter. It was like a singing group, like a Philly-style singing group. He had a band called Flight Time. And Flight Time was more like, Parliament Funkadelic, like a funk type of thing. Right. We used to do Battle of the Bands all the time. And, there'd be Terry's band would kick my band's ass. And then the next time, my band would kick his ass. And it's like we were watching each other, but we were admiring each other. Even though we were competitive, we were like, nah, but we should just join up and do something.
Terry's love for music came straight from the fam. His uncle and stepdad were guitar kings. And when he stumbled across a busted guitar at home, baby, he turned that trash into treasure and started rocking the bass.
Actually, my uncle played guitar. And then my stepfather played guitar, and he left a old guitar in the house with a couple strings broken. The top two strings were broken, so I ended up playing bass because that's all the strings that were left.
Talk about making lemonade out of lemons. Meanwhile, Jimmy's piano skills, all his daddy's doing. Cornbread Harris passed down more than just a name. He gave Jimmy the keys to greatness, literally. And the rest, iconic, honey.
When I was a drummer at first, and Terry was the one that got me into playing keyboards because my dad played keyboards. He said, your dad plays keyboards, play keyboards. I'm like, cool.
By 1981, Jimmy linked up with Terry's revived band, The Time, and they ran the game, playing on all 5 of the group's albums. Life was really sweet, but the real wake-up call? A member of The Time dropped a gem. This group ain't gonna last forever, y'all. If you want to stay winning, you better level up and plan ahead.
And one of the ways I always remember is back when the Time got together, and Terry and I had started kind of branching off and trying to do some productions and different things. He told everybody in the group, he wasn't against it. He was like, no, that's great what they're doing. He told everybody in the group, go out and figure out what you want to do, because this group thing ain't gonna last forever. So he said, I'm gonna take some acting lessons. I want to try to get into do some acting. Jimmy and Terry are doing their production stuff. Everybody figure out something to do. And at that point in time, when we decided that's what we're gonna try to do is production, a lot of the other guys didn't do that. They just kind of didn't listen to what he said. But Morris laid it out for everybody. He said, man, this band is not gonna last forever. So we listened to what he said, and we respect him to death.
By 1982, things started heating up. Music executive Dina R. Andrews from Solar Records scooped up Jimmy and Terry and put them on game. Under Leon Silver's mentorship, they leveled up and got plugged in with the legendary Clarence Avant. Then came their big break. Jam and Lewis dropped their first masterpiece, producing for Avant's SOS band. With China Andrews managing the duo, they were unstoppable. Hits poured in for Cheryl, Alexander O'Neal, and more. They were on fire, even linking up with Janet Jackson's camp and working with Climax. Talk about a winning streak.
Moving to our newer stuff, the Human League. I'm only human. Herb Alfred. New Alexander, and of course.
But success always comes with drama. Prince, their original label boss, had one golden rule: don't produce for anyone else. But Jimmy and Terry, they kept it moving, creating hits left and right like it wasn't a thing. And then, bam, disaster hit. A blizzard rolled through and kept them from making it to the Times tour.
We had gone down to Atlanta to produce the SOS band, and we got caught in a snowstorm down there and couldn't catch our flight out to make the next, the Time concert, which was in San Antonio, Texas. So anyway, that night we're supposed to go mix that song, right? And we had recording time set up to mix. And Prince calls and he says, meet me at Sunset Sound at 6 o'clock or whatever. And Terry and I looked at each other and we said, okay, wait, should we go go mix the SOS Band song or should we go meet Prince? Well, obviously we're gonna go meet Prince. That was our gig, right?
Prince was heated. Y'all worked with the SOS Band? He snapped. I told you, no production for other groups. You're fired. Just like that, it was a wrap.
So we show up at Sunset Sound and the accountant is there. And so we go, uh-oh, he must be gonna fire us because, you know, the accountant's gonna give us our last check or whatever. But the accountant just walks by and he goes, oh, you guys have a good session. And we're like, okay. We walk into this little room. It's me, Terry, Morris, Jesse, and Prince. And Prince just says, I told you guys not to produce other records on other bands. And we said, yeah. And he said, you produce the SOS Band. And we said, yeah. And he said, so you're fired. And I was like, okay. And I got up and walked out the room. So Terry stuck around a little farther in the room. And then Terry, you can tell whatever happened when I...
Jimmy was floored, but Terry tried to plead his case. Come on, man, we just wanted some real experience, he reasoned. But Prince wasn't hearing it. Rules are rules, he fired back, shutting it down cold.
He had a short conversation where I tried to reason with him, like, why let us go now? This doesn't make any sense. All we're trying to do is better ourselves and learn more and have an outlet for our creativity. And he said, you guys are fired. And then, you know, Morris got up and walked out. And then so did I. So we went outside and we said, okay, so what are we going to do now? We said, go mix.
After getting axed by Prince, Terry and Jimmy regrouped and headed straight back to their stomping grounds, the studio. Engineer Stephen Hodge peeped their whole vibe and was like, what's up, y'all? You look like somebody snatched your last name.
We were like, well, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I guess we'll go to that other studio and mix SOS Band records. So we walked into the studio. The engineer was a guy named Steve Hodge. And so we walk into the studio, Larrabee Sound is what it was called. And we said, oh, hey, Steve. He says, hey, nice to meet you guys. We said, nice to meet you. He said, what's wrong? You guys seem kind of down. And we said, yeah, we just got fired from the time.
But Hodge wasn't here for the pity party. Oh, that's why y'all moping around. Man, forget Prince. Y'all sitting on a smash hit right here.
We just got fired from the time. He said, really? We said, yeah. And he said, well, I don't think you guys have anything to worry about because this song here, this is a smash.
He was talking about Just Be Good to Me, a track that was about to change everything. That jam was the launchpad that shot them straight into iconic duo territory.
He pressed play, and that came on with that Steve Hodge mix coming out those big speakers. And we were like, whoo, okay. So, I mean, it was very much a Hollywood ending, or what you'd call a Hollywood. I mean, you couldn't even write that script. Yeah.
These sound architects weren't just making hits. They were out to change the game. With the legendary Roland TR 808 drum machine in hand, they created a vibe so fresh, it had the whole world shook.
Can you show us how you go about doing a mix?
Well, we just happen, since you asked, we just happen to have a tape kind of up. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start out with all of these buttons in the off position. And I'm going to explain that we have 24 tracks here. And the tape that we record on, I can show you later, but it's about this thick. It's real big.
2 inches.
Bulky. Mm-hmm. 2 inches.
Thank
you. You give them the statistics. We need 2 inches. Big tape, and then you say
2 inches.
After smashing it with Cheryl and Alexander O'Neal, Jam and Lewis teamed up with Janet Jackson in 1986, crafting her era-defining album, Control. And did they slay? Baby, they snatched a Grammy for that masterpiece. Talk about legendary.
We know what those are.
Keyword. Y'all got it? Okay. Let's make sure everybody's following along.
Gotcha.
So Terry puts a cassette in and he goes, John, listen to this. This is some stuff from our album. And it was just tracks, right? So the tracks are playing and we're all grooving. About third song in, he goes, that's the one I need for Janet. We said, what are you talking about, John? He said, man, give that to Janet. If she likes it, give it to her. We're like, what are you talking about? So the next day we go to the studio. Janet comes in. She's just sitting on the couch watching TV. We just put the song on. We didn't say anything. We're watching her groove. She walks to the door. She kind of points to us. When the song goes off, she goes, who's that for? And we said, you if you want it. She said, oh, I want it. That song became What Have You Done For Me Lately?
I know. He used to do nice stuff for you.
But what has he done for you lately?
But oh, they weren't done yet. Their magic with Janet continued on her 1989 album, Rhythm Nation 1814. And let me tell you, it was straight flames.
And the producer of the year is Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Want to thank our moms, first of all. Bunch of people, I'll read them off very quickly. They're all very important. I'd like to thank all the great artists we worked with this year. Force MDs, Patty Austin, Sherelle, Alexander O'Neal, the SOS Band, the Human League, Janet Jackson, because they all need to share in this, because without them, we have nothing to produce, right?
Billboard Hot 100 #1 hits, and one of the best-selling albums of all time? Yeah, they were untouchable. Then they leveled up with Perspective Records, their A&M distributed label, shaking up the industry. Perspective was killing it with Mint Condition, Low-Key, and solo artists making waves. And then came The Film with No Money, a whole other vibe. Then came Equitably, produced by Jam and Lewis, packed with tracks from Mint Condition, Ralph Tresvant, and a jaw-dropping duet from Janet Jackson and Luther Vandross that had everybody talking. Fast forward to 2003, and Jam and Lewis made big moves, relocating to Santa Monica, California, and launching Flight Time West, keeping their empire flying high. The hits just kept rolling in. By 2006, they snagged another Grammy for Yolanda Adams' soul-stirring anthem, Be Blessed. In 2007, they cooked up another Grammy-winning gem with the album Funk This. It featured the fiery R&B duet Disrespectful with the queen of hip-hop soul herself, Mary J. Blige. Pure heat, y'all. These production geniuses had officially hit the stratosphere, racking up love, iconic collabs, and non-stop success. Who would have thought getting fired would set them up to blow up like this? Success has a funny way of turning haters into fans, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were living proof of that. Get this, after Prince gave them the boot, guess what? Prince came crawling back, trying to recruit Terry again. And what did Terry say? Nah, I'm good.
Their success is amazing to have lasted. And not just that, but to continue to have major success, to still be major players in the game. There's a great deal of love and understanding there. And that's what's really important. They truly understand it. They're old married men, and I'm their little girl.
I know, right? Mind-blowing. But hold up, it gets juicier. After Janet Jackson's album blew up, guess who came knocking again? Prince wanted the dynamic duo back. Lord have mercy.
A couple weeks later, he called and tried to get me to come back without Jimmy because his idea was to divide and conquer. Oh, yeah, it's business, I get it. But declined his invitation, and the rest is history. So we just moved forward from there.
What a comeback story, huh? This whole saga is like peeling an onion, and I'm here for every layer. But here's the twist. Prince's whole firing stunt, it was just a bluff. He was trying to shake them up, but Jimmy and Terry had already shifted gears. Thanks to that wisdom from their group members, they'd locked in on songwriting and production. They were already on the move, and Prince didn't even realize it.
And he'd known Terry longer than even me. And he was like, no, Terry wasn't going for it. So that we were solidified. We were always solidified anyway, but that totally solidified it at that point. Like, no, there's no divide and conquer. We're moving forward with what we're doing. And of course, when Just Be Good to Me came a #1 record, and then he tried to get us back. The epilogue is he tried to get us back. And
both of you guys this time, or?
Yeah, I don't know whether I don't know. Yeah, I think probably at that point.
Their story is all about taking risks and knowing when to switch things up. Don't get too comfy, y'all. Times change in a blink. But preparation, that's where opportunity meets success. With a career that spanned over 4 decades, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have worked with the creme de la creme, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Vanessa Williams, Rod Stewart, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Jimmy's got some wild stories about recording with MJ and Janet. Dude would stroll into the studio looking all quiet and humble. But once the music hit, he'd turn into a whole musical beast on that mic.
Well, the thing was, we were never really fired. It was a bluff. And we realized that when we went to the accountant to get our check. We thought we were getting our last check. And we walked into the accountant and they said, hey guys, they gave us our checks. And they said, see you next week. The next week we went back, and the next week we went back. And after about 3 weeks, we finally went back, and they said, there was a guy named Lee Bailey. He had a show called Radio Scope, right? It was a syndicated radio show. And he had cornered us at a concert we were at and said, I heard you guys were fired from the Time. And we were like, what are you talking about, man? We don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, we go back to the accountant and they go, oh, hey guys, we can't give you your checks this week. And we said, why not? And they said, well, we heard you're fired. And we laughed. We said, we got fired a month ago. Where'd you hear we got fired? Oh, it was just on the radio, Lee Bailey, Radio Scope. So at that point, that's when the bluff was up. And it was like a bluff. It was like kind of like, I'm going to fire them and scare them and see how they do. But at that point, the wheels were already rolling because the record was coming out and everybody said it's going to be a smash. And it was. So
that was the end of that.
Still feels unreal for them, working with all those legends, huh?
The funny part, of course, was when Michael comes in to sing and he's wearing like, jingle jangle stuff and breaking all the studio rules. And he comes in all kind of mild. And the idea is, we're in New York. Janet's going to sing after Michael. Michael's going to lay his part down first. And I swear Michael walks in so meek and so mild. And as soon as the music starts, he turns into the Tasmanian devil. He's screaming and twirling and he's just killing it. Sings the whole song from start to finish. Our jaws are just on the floor. Just like unbelievable. Never seen anything like it in our life. When he finishes, he just goes, "How was that?" Back to his real self. And we were like, "Yeah, Mike, that was good." And he goes, "You want me to do it again?" "Yeah, Mike, yeah, go ahead and do it again." Like we're totally like, right? Janet leans in between us and she just goes, "I'll do my vocal in Minneapolis."
You are in, Terry, such rarefied air. When you think about writer, producers who we know by a single name or whose names we know at all, it's Quincy Jones, Burt Bacharach, Jimmy, and Terry. That's the list. Could you have ever imagined that you'd be on that list?
Well, I never thought about it like that, Tamara. I tell you, I just love the music and I always say that, I just enjoy the process. I enjoy doing what I do. I guess if there's a destination at some point, I hope I never arrive there because the journey is the most important thing for me.
But here's the kicker. Terry's come to realize that Prince didn't fire them. He freed them to chase their true destiny.
I've assembled over the years a different terminology for what Prince did for us. And God bless you, Prince, and rest in peace, brother, because we love you. But Prince did not fire us. He freed us to pursue our destiny. And, we appreciate all that he did for us. And sometimes, being the boss, as we've learned over the years, you have to make hard decisions.
Can you believe Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have snagged over 5 Grammy Awards and racked up a whole mountain of nominations? That's straight up legendary, fam.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 2022 recipient of the Creators Leadership Award, Minnesota's own Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
And get this, the real kicker? After all these years, they finally dropped their debut album, Volume 1, in 2021. Fans were losing it, wondering what took so long. I mean, seriously, what was the holdup?
So Jimmy, I want to know what took you guys so long to actually produce your own album?
Well, it actually started back 35 years ago because we were producing an album called Control, which is 35 years old. And Janet actually stole one of our songs from our album, which turned into What Have You Done For Me Lately? So it launched her career. It ended ours, at least on the artist side of things. And it's taken that long to actually get there. Yeah, so that's what's taken so long.
Fans had been thirsting for a joint album from these two icons. And when they finally delivered, straight fire, y'all.
We actually reunited Morris Day along with Jerome Benton, which is actually Terry's brother. Jerome is Terry's brother.
That's right. What's up, bro?
And then for the band, we used The Roots. It's a great collaboration. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So,
and also the Sounds of Blackness.
And the Sounds of Blackness are also on there from Minneapolis. 50 years they're celebrating this year. So, yeah.
The wait was real, but trust, they gave us all the goods.
Was that the last time you ever spoke to Prince? Did he ever, or did years go by and he's like, "Oh, I see what you guys became"?
Oh, no. We had a great relationship. He fired us. As Terry likes to say, he freed us. I think he pushed us out the nest. He knew. He said, "You guys are going to be okay."
And Jimmy's been letting us know there was no bad blood with Prince. All was good between them till his passing. It's all love.
But I'm curious, the next time that you ran into Prince face to face, what was that meeting like?
No, it was fun. I think the next time I saw him, it was all fun and games, basically, because we were doing fine. But it turned out, I think, was after was Purple Rain tour.
Purple Rain tour. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw him in Detroit, as a matter of fact. I had no ill feeling at that point, but the way he treated, more specifically, Jimmy, because he had like a silent rivalry with Jimmy for some reason.
Terry Lewis paints a whole different picture. And baby, it's giving us all the drama. Terry spills the tea that their reunion with Prince started off cool, but then Prince flipped the script, getting all bitter towards Jimmy. Why? A deep-rooted rivalry that had Jimmy shook.
He wasn't treating Jimmy right, and that was the day that I disowned him for about 2 or 3 years. He was banned at my house. Like, you couldn't even say his name or play. His music was banned, his likeness was banned, because I just cut it off. It's like, no, you can't do my man like that and then expect me to be okay with that. That's not.
Terry's saying he had to completely cut Prince out of his life because of it. OMG, the shade is real.
You know what? I don't really know. I met Prince when I was probably 12 years old. I want to say 13 years old, something like that. We were in junior high together, took a keyboard class together, and I was always impressed with his, musicianship. And I think he was very impressed with my musicianship because I played drums and keyboard. He played drums and keyboard and guitar. Like he played a lot of stuff. So I think it was maybe that. Also, we're Geminis and our birthdays are a day apart. I'm the 6th, he's the 7th. But I don't really know because I was always like his biggest fan. Like I actually auditioned for his band and I didn't get the gig, which was perfectly fine because Matt Fink got it and Matt was much better than me anyway. But I don't really know exactly what it was. But I never felt anything like that towards.
Now Jimmy's out here dishing the details on this rivalry. And trust, it's messy. Even Jimmy can't fully wrap his head around it.
What I didn't know, and so many others did not know, is that Jimmy's father, who is huge in the Minneapolis sound, iconic in the sound, they've been estranged since he was 15 years old.
Behind all the glitz and glamour of Jimmy Jam's rise to fame, there was a whole lot of personal drama unfolding. Since he was just 15, Jimmy had been estranged from his dad, James Cornbread Harris, a Minneapolis sound legend. Yeah, you heard that right, since he was 15. Jimmy's dad had put his own music dreams on pause to raise him. And that's some serious father goals, y'all. But then, things took a turn. He wanted to hit the road and chase his own passions again. But Jimmy's mom, nah, she wasn't having it. And the arguments started piling up. Jimmy, he felt that deep resentment, seeing his dad's dreams get put on hold because of him.
I just remember my dad wanting to do music, but he had basically kind of given it up to work a normal job to raise me. And I remember him and my mom arguing all the time about that he wanted to take a leave of absence and try to tour and do some different things. And it was kind of like, my mom said, you said you were going to give up music and, raise your son. And I always felt like, wow, I felt like almost resented in a way, like he couldn't do what he wanted to do.
And then, boom, the unthinkable happened. His dad dipped out, leaving Jimmy behind for 50 long years. That's a whole lot of pain right there, folks.
The story of our lives, your music, how you've lived your life. There's no one in this world that has not been impacted by what you created. But in this next chapter of your life, you wanted to reveal this estrangement. Why?
At the time, obviously, as a kid, I didn't really I understood why he left, or if he felt the need to leave. So I totally understood that. And then we were apart for almost 50 years.
But Jimmy's on a real healing journey now. He's forgiven, and he's starting to understand his dad's struggles.
Because I knew how important music was to me in my life. And if somebody was telling me I couldn't do music for any reason, I just was like, I couldn't imagine that.
Your dad he's...
Yeah.
That's why this conversation is such a big deal, because it is. It's okay. That's what this show is about. It's about forgiving.
Yeah.
He gets it now, the pain of putting your passions on the back burner for family. Jimmy's raised his own kids, teaching them the lessons his dad taught him. That's a full circle moment, and it's beautiful.
Your father is one of the architects of the sound that's made you an international superstar.
Yeah.
So on one end, you are growing in reputation and name in Minneapolis, and there's your dad still hovering over.
Yeah.
But you weren't seeing each other.
We weren't seeing each other. And I think the thing for me was I had gotten to the point where he wasn't part of my life and I was okay with that. But what changed that was my partner Terry always said, you can't be the boss or you can't criticize the boss until you've been a boss. So after my kids were raised and were grown, I realized that so many of the lessons that I taught to them were lessons that my dad taught to me. And I felt like I wanted to let him know that I didn't feel any sort of bitterness or ill will or anything towards him. And I didn't want him to feel the guilt. I wanted to lift whatever guilt he was feeling about leaving, I wanted to lift that. Yeah. And that was to me the big opportunity to do that.
I love that. Yeah. I love that.
And now Jimmy's out here massaging that bond. No hard feelings, Pops. I forgive you.
We have via Zoom James Cornbread Harris Jr., Jimmy's father. Woo! Listen, this has taken my breath away. First of all, hey, Dad, how you doing? I see you at the piano, your favorite place there. How old he is now?
97.
97. He said, wow, Cornbread, we got you on Zoom because I know it is challenging to travel. We have a photo of you. This is May 17th, 2021, of you and Jimmy, your grandson. What is it like at this point? You've seen a lot in your years on this planet, but to be able to, at this age, have your son and grandson there with you, how did that feel?
Man, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, that's what I would like to tell you.
The best thing that ever happened to you.
Yes, right.
That's what we call a golden son baby. At 97, Jimmy's pops is living his best life, and when they reunite, it's like pure magic.
I used to spend so much time in the studio, man. I had children, so I would maybe get 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep. I would be up all day and then up all night and get my kids to bed and do that cycle all over again.
Now, let's dive into Jimmy's little slice of heaven. He's got it all. Married to the beautiful Mexican-American business queen, Lisa Padilla Harris, and they've got 3 stunning kids, Tyler, Max, and Bella. The man's net worth is sitting pretty at $40 million, and at 65, he's still out here dominating the game. Now on the flip side, Terry Lewis, oh honey, this man's love life has been a whole soap opera. He's had more drama than a reality show reunion. First up, he had 2 kids, Trey and Chloe, with his ex, but that was a wrap, so he moved on to the next one. Enter Karen White, his second wife. Talk about a whirlwind. They had a quick, fiery romance that ended in flames after about 8 years. But not before they blessed us with 2 more little Lewises, Brandon and Ashley. But Terry wasn't done. Oh no. He stepped right into another marriage with Indira Singh, and boom, 2 more babies. Yep, you heard me right. 6 kids from 3 different relationships. Terry's got a whole squad, y'all.
I'm really proud and honored to present this wonderful award, well-deserved award, to Jimmy and Terry. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Fast forward to today, Terry's 67 and living like royalty with a net worth of $50 million. This music mogul's got the coins to back up that legendary status, baby. These 2 are straight up icons. Left a mark on the game that ain't never fading. Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam are forever stamped in the history books. And trust, we can't get enough of their legacy.
We're honored to be here. You know, it's always an honor to be honored, but we honor the music. I'd just like to say a few things because this makes me want to go back. And I want to thank the people who gave us safe haven, that gave us a basement to work in, that listened to the noise before it came songs. That's so important. My mother, she would do this every day. Turn that shit down.
Against all the odds, they're still collecting awards and getting love left and right. And we're right here, cheering them on like they're the champs they are.
That's the way Terry and I are. We have different interests. We have different types of music that we feel really speak to us. We have different artists we work with that we have really close relationships with. There's some artists that I swear to God, if you say, what does Jimmy do? And they go, I never see Jimmy. I only see Terry, you know, or vice versa, according to who the artist is. But at the end of the day, it's always Jam and Lewis. And we shook hands 50-50. We said 50-50. Well, that took away creatively all of the disagreements you would have. Well, that's my title. Well, that's my verse. Well, that's my melody. Why are you breaking songs down like that? No, 50-50. So there's songs, we're on the same team. There's songs that are 100% Terry wrote them and did everything, and I hear it when it's on the radio or when it comes out. And I go, man, that sounds really good. And I got 50% of it, so what do I care?
But what's really got us shook is how these 2 have unlocked the secret sauce to that forever bond. We're talking 2 music moguls with completely different vibes and flavors, yet somehow they made it work, and that's the real magic, baby.
So when people say we're going to cut the budgets in schools, and how are we going to cut the budget? We're going to take music out of schools. Are you kidding me? How do we learn our alphabet? We don't go A, B, C. No, we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What's that next? Right. No, we don't need the long version. We'll do the single version. Single edit. Our goal is to leave music in a better place. That's me and Terry's goal at this point. We are celebrating 40 years. We did this, and we said 50-50. That's our contract. 40 years on that contract we've been together. And next year we will be celebrating our 50th year as friends. 1973 we met.
We're talking decades of straight-up collabs, innovation, and nothing but pure greatness. Terry and Jimmy, oh, they're the original dynamic duo. Here's to countless more years of breaking barriers, making waves, and serving us timeless hits.